Everybody, it's Miss Weckler here, and I'm going to talk to you today a little bit about some more annotations. Today's annotations that we're going to cover are called contrasts and contradictions. Okay, so contrasts and contradictions often occur in literature when you're reading a story and a character says or does something that's the opposite of what that character's been saying or doing all along. Sometimes it's the opposite of what you would expect him or her to do, or at the very least, the opposite of what he or she led you to believe. When you come across something that you realize, like, oh, this is out of the ordinary, this character doesn't normally act like that, or this character didn't say that this is how it would be, you want to ask yourself, hey, why is this character doing that? When we think about the answers, and remember, they're not always solid, easy answers, but those answers could lead us to make an inference or an assumption about the plot, about the conflict, sometimes even about the theme. So we're going to use today Edgar Allan Poe's famous story, The Telltale Heart, as an example. You could certainly see contrast and contradictions in plenty of other stories, including The Foghorn, but we'll stick with Poe for today. Okay, so this handout should look familiar to you. Oh, The Telltale Heart. Okay, so as you know, in the very beginning, the narrator wants you to realize he is not crazy. We've done a lot of talking about that. Some of you believe that, and a lot of you are saying, no, this guy is nuts. You know that in the very beginning of the story, he tells you he has a disease and that he can hear all things in heaven and hell. Most importantly, he says, all right, listen to my story and see how calmly I can tell you the whole story. Here's where, looking back and knowing how the story ends, I decided to make a little note. This one is a contrast and contradiction because I know the manner in which he ends the story. I know that he doesn't calmly tell this story. So my note says the narrator claims he will tell the entire story calmly, relaxed, even toned. While that is true for some of the story, when we get to the murder, and much after the murder, we really start to see him getting less calm, getting a little bit frantic even. Okay, so the part where I'm going to tie it back into, though I could have done it at other parts of this story, is the very end when the policemen are there, they're talking, and the narrator really begins to freak out, going so far as to, almighty God, no, they heard, they suspected, they knew, they were making a mockery of my horror. This I thought, and this I think. But anything was better than this agony. Anything was more tolerable than this derision. I could bear these hypocritical smiles no longer. I felt that I must scream or die, and now again, hark, louder, 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 louder. That doesn't really sound like a calm guy. It's certainly a major contrast, completely contradicting the fact that the narrator claimed in the beginning of this story that he could tell the whole story from start to finish calmly. So the comment that I put here, and this happens to be a typed one, though yours might be a post-it, give little hashtag CC for contrast and contradiction. The narrator gets excited and begins to lose his mind. He is no longer calm, but irrational, erratic, and frantic. So hopefully this example here gave you a little insight that when we are looking or reading a short story and looking for contrasts and contradictions, this type of example you might find. There are a lot more contrasts and contradictions in Edgar Allan Poe's short story, The Telltale Heart, and as you'll soon find out, in the next story we're going to read, The Cask of Amontillado.